Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. We are teachers and all practitioners. It's our Dharma discussion every day. It's also time for us to answer any questions that we have, as well as receiving feedback from everyone. We welcome all of your feedback from everyone. For Patriot Zen, the most important thing is the practice. And for the practice, the most important thing in the practice is the doubt. Whether we can practice or not, whether we can fully understand or not. All of those issues are still within the form of sickness. Only the practice will help us to move away from those forms of sickness and move away from the attachment. The practice also help us gradually be able to grasp the Dharma. When we talk about, be able to understand or be able to grasp, it's a skillful means, also referred to as we gradually being able to follow the right Dharma from doubt to enlightenment. If we only follow our thinking, and only follow the principle, we will not be able, but without practicing, we won't be able to fully understand. And that's why we said for Patriot Zen, it's very important to practice. And on that practice, we also have to always strengthen our belief in the mind and always rely on the wise teachers, the experienced people to help us on our path of practice. So following the teachings of the Buddha, following the skillful means of the patriots and the wise teachers that will help us to, that will help lead us eventually to enlightenment, to be able to control ourselves and end all suffering. Right now, anybody have any questions about the practice? Please bring up your question. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Kim Yến, please. We're waiting for her to turn on her mic. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha, dear thầy, all teachers and everyone. Could you please help me with the questions that I recently have when I heard the other co-practitioners share about their experience? I heard that when we visit the temple to practice every day, we are able to be close to other practitioners. We have a place to go to instead of go out to other places or other activities. We can just go to the temple to cultivate and practice together with other people and share our practice with one another. I feel like not many people have that opportunity. So if we feel satisfied with being able to practice that way, am I falling into having a subject to gain? Or is it okay as long as I follow such a schedule to practice? Could you please help us understand better? Because my practitioner, when she share about her experience, it feels like she's very content and satisfied with what she has so far. Could you please help us understand if this is the right thing? Thầy said, the valuable thing of our practice is the doubt. And the Buddha said we have to find a way to raise the contemplation of the prajna. Also mean we have to find a way to maintain the practice. That's why the Buddha told Master Ananda, doesn't matter how much you learn, how much knowledge you have, it cannot be compared with one day of practicing. So we can see that when it comes to a person like Master Ananda, who very interested in learning and gaining the knowledge, the Buddha have to say so to him so that he can digest his knowledge. But it depends on the capacity of each person. In the subsection of prajna, the Buddha said the Buddha of 3 times rely on the prajna to achieve Buddhahood. And the Buddha explained about prajna in the sutra as non-duality. Form is emptiness, emptiness is form. We are within duality, and that's why we are not able to fully utilize the function of the prajna. And the Buddha, whenever he says something, he will right away negate his saying. Just like the sixth patriarch, when he gave the verse, he used that verse to get rid of attachment and duality. We have to find a way to liberate from the knowledge, and to do that, we use the practice to be able to transcend and overcome the practice. The patriarch talked about the cause is doubt, the effect is enlightenment. When the Buddha raised the flower in the Lotus Sutra, only Mahakassapa was able to understand what the Buddha means and smiled at his action. And the Buddha therefore passed down this method to him. And it's not that simple and easy to go straight to the true doubt and liberate from birth and death. we have to first raise the Bodhi mind and put into practice. But we tend to attach to whatever we gain. That's why the Buddha also advised us to raise the mind of having nothing to gain. And that having nothing to gain will help us get rid of each of attachment on each of our level of attainment. And the Buddha and the Patriarch give out multiple skillful means to help us overcome the subject of gaining. But instead, we establish a lot of knowledge on those skillful means, and those knowledge turn around and actually create an obstacle on our practice. However, if we are able to maintain the practice uninterruptedly through time and space, then doesn't matter where we are or when we are, we never fall into attachment. Just like we are making a net of doubt. So if we are able to making a net of doubt, then doesn't matter where we are, it's still considered as we are at the temple. But if we instead establish the knowledge based on that, we are falling into the trap of having a subject to gain, to seek, and to fear. And Master Lai Hua encouraged people to rely, to stay in Tòng Lâm, a temple that has all of the triple gems. And once we rely at that place, we are able to get a great influence, and we will be able to nurture our liberating mind. But if we stay by ourselves, or if we stay a lot in the normal life, we probably will just nurture the mind of, like the mind of being stuck in birth and death. The master gave an example of a person who practiced by himself in the mountain cannot be compared to a person, stay in the temple and abide to the rules and always get reminded by the wise teachers and the practitioners, so that he can overcome his laziness, versus a person staying by himself in a mountain very easily fall into laziness and fall into breaking the precepts. Master Lai Hua lists out a lot of challenges of living ourselves. When we sick, nobody take care of us, or when there are disasters, we cannot fight against the disasters by ourselves, or when we are attracted to the worldly desires, it's very difficult for us to maintain the precepts. And that's why our patriots encourage us to stay close to the temple. But that is because, but however, for the people who already able to, create a net of doubt and be able to maintain their doubt uninterruptedly, at everywhere they go, then doesn't matter where they are, it's always considered a temple. To those people, everywhere is considered a temple. So you can see that all of these advice are skillful means But a lot of people making assumption from these ideas. They just feel satisfied as what they already have and don't want to improve on their practice, and that will hinder them on their practice. So we have to overcome such thoughts. We don't need to modify or change forcefully. We just need to continue to practice further. We don't teach people to leave behind their job or their family or run away from their responsibilities. They still need to do what they need to do, but they still maintain the practice. And once their practice is well, then it will be able to transform all of the areas of their life. That's why we call, once the main retribution is corrected, then the subsequent retribution will follow. So for the practice, we have to always remember about the practice. But don't react to other people's saying. Just focus on your practice and don't try to differentiate between right or wrong, whether people are correct or not. Just focus on your practice. Those people, one day they will improve, and seek out more learning from the wise teachers and the practitioners. And when the right conditions are there, they will be able to make a big improvement on their practice. You understand my explanation? Thank you, thầy, for your advice. I understand. Kim Yến has another question. Dear thầy, dear everyone, and I would like to ask another question. You normally talk about tam thường bất túc. She's asking about a Vietnamese Chinese idiom that thầy normally mention in their Dharma talk. And she asks, on our daily life full of convenience, when we try to apply this Dharma into such life, should we do it intentionally? Could you please explain about this Dharma again so we can apply to our daily lives? Thầy said these things include eating the clothing and the play the body, it should be very we should keep them simple. Most sentient beings, they struggle with life in order to take care of their food, their clothes, and the place to live, you know. And they are influenced a lot of other things, influenced by a lot of other things because they try to maintain what to eat, what to wear, and where to live. So that the meaning of that saying is we just need to keep them just enough, you know. But what is considered enough? Um, so you can see this is a skillful means, also a rule to help us get rid of our attachment. But for the Zen practitioner, if our practice is strong enough, then we will be able to fulfill that Dharma. We don't even need to put in further intentions. Doesn't matter how people compliment or, you know, or say bad things about us. Like if they see us wearing a new clothes, they compliment on us. We don't need to, if we don't care about whether they compliment on us or not, but instead just maintain our practice. Like Master Lai said, if we can maintain the feeling of doubt, the feeling of wanting to know but cannot know, this not knowing is not equal to the not knowing of the rock or the inanimated being. This doubt is different. If we can maintain the doubt, then we will able to practice all kind of dharmas. Like we contemplating prajna, whether we start at a beginning level or at a very experienced level, we still have to contemplate prajna. So Master Lai said the force of the Tao is very special. It can help us to fulfill all dharmas, including the worldly dharma and also the non-worldly dharma. Because the Tao help us sweep away the attachment and duality, so it will be able to help us overcome all vehicles, the voice hearer vehicle, the particular Buddha vehicle, or even the Bodhisattva vehicle. So to keep the doubt is to practice the prajna that will lead us eventually attain Anuttara Samya Sambodhi. But for us, because we are not able to maintain the Tao, we still stuck in our attachment. You know, don't assume that asceticism is equal to cultivation. We have to be very cautious to not get tricked by our consciousness. So as long as we can maintain the doubt, we will be able to practice all dharmas. However, if we still have differentiation, the Buddha teach us to keep, keep what we eat, what we wear, or where to live as the minimum, so that we don't get attached to those desires. Like the Buddha also teach us to always maintain our original thought. Don't, instead of raising the thought within birth and death. So as long as you can maintain your practice, you are actually already practiced the tam thường bất túc, the one where we just keep what to eat, what to wear, and where to live at the minimum. So just keep ask the question and raise the doubt. She says she understands. Thank you, thầy, a lot. Trường Ngọc has a question. Thưa sư phụ, dear sư phụ, dear everyone, I would like to ask about this this issue. I feel like in some situation when we are in contact with external conditions, like me in the past, whenever I am in contact with the external conditions, whether it's to my liking or to my dislike, I always react with the talking and the action. But recently, somebody told me that recently you don't seem to react a lot anymore, and they asked me how come you can still be able to maintain your normalcy in such situation. So even though that thing have a great impact on me, but at that time I remember you taught me to just return to my practice, and therefore I didn't react through saying or action anymore. But I feel like there is still some thought generated from my consciousness that affect my practice. Could you please explain that? Is it that when we don't react with words and action, we are maintaining the precepts, even though this is not the meditative precepts completely yet, because we are still influenced by our consciousness? Could you help explain? Thầy said, Master Hư Vân has an example. When we at the top of the 100-meter pole, if we take another step, then we will be able to move away from the consciousness. All of our practitioners, we are still on the path of consciousness. Once we are able to completely move away from the consciousness, we will become a patriot and be able to carry on the mission of the Buddha of the 3 times. So unless we reach that stage, we are still on our path of consciousness. We still have attachment, ignorance, everything. However, each practitioner has their own difference on their path to liberation. When we enter the stream, instead of being out of the stream, we are able to put in practice according to the idea of the Buddha. Because we still not be able to stay on the right track, the Buddha has and the patriarch has to give out the rules to help facilitate our practice to reach achievement. Like when they advise us to raise the Bodhi mind and to live for others, not for us, the Bodhisattva way, and practice the 6 parameters, like offering, diligence, meditation, wisdom, etc. So for example, if we do practice the offering parameter, doesn't matter if other people take over our effort or if they bully us, we still don't take it to heart. So if we practice patience, but we can still see that we are practicing patience, then it's not the ultimate patience. But if we just focus on our practice where we don't even see that we are being patient, then that is the patient parameter. Just like when you are diligent to the point where you don't even see you are being diligent, that is considered diligence parameter. So whatever level that you attain, you have to put it down and continue to go to the next level until you go to the ultimate enlightenment. So our practice, we rely on the doubt. Like in the past, when we don't know how to practice well, we are still influenced by our karmic habits, differentiation, subject object, and therefore we react with our attitude, our talk, our words, or our cycle, but right now with the practice, even if that is such an important thing, we are still not putting a lot of care into it, but instead we focus on our practice instead of following the thought of attachment. So you can see that the better you practice, automatically you will be able to practice all the skillful means that a teacher, the Buddha, taught us, including coarse and subtle. Just like when we practice, it automatically helps us to keep our rules and precepts, even though we don't have to intentionally try to keep our rules and precepts. The common people might comment poorly on us, saying, why are we so foolish and silly and not react when other people compete with us and stuff? But just focus on your practice, maintain the doubt. You don't need to force yourself to suppress your reaction, automatically. The practice will help you know how to react in the right way. So the practice will help you automatically know how to react in a harmonious way, very naturally, without the intention. The Buddha taught us about the 6 harmonies when living with the audience in a temple. For the right Dharma, we always prioritize liberation. Like in the precepts of the Buddha, when we advise someone to do something, but that person still don't listen to us, we only advise 3 times. After 3 times, we don't say it again. So those are the skillful means that the Buddha taught us to help, to help us transform the obstacles that we have in our normal lives. So all of these things are just conditioned activities, activities within a dream. So we just need to continue to practice. If they give you comment poorly on you, if they give you feedback, just thank them for their feedback, but don't feel worried about those. Always reflect on yourself to see what our errors are, and then use our practice to contemplate. You understand my explanation? She said yes. Thank you, Sư Phụ. Cô Pháp Tuệ was gonna ask a question, but Sư Phụ already answered through his answer to Truyền Ngọc's question.
Bây giờ còn mấy phút nữa nè, có ai có thắc mắc gì nữa? Để câu nữa.
Time for one last question. Miss Tan, I have a short question. When you said in the morning that the old people, the elders, normally their consciousness will be slow. Even for their consciousness, it will be slow as well. So I have a question: if their consciousness is lower than the younger one, will they be able to attain on the practice better than us? Could you help explain to us? Thầy said, "Oh, this is such a difficult question, right?" And thầy laughed. When we said for the elders, when we say they are weak, it means the weakness of their body, but then their attachment even gets stronger and bigger because they have more attachment, more fear. That's why they have more worries, and therefore their body turn weaker. Just like our health, when we are sick, we turn very weak, right? But it's just the weakness of our body. But then our mind doesn't turn weaker. Our mind even turn more turbulent, more worried. Our mind is affected by the body, the world, and therefore when we're sick, the mind is even in more turbulence. That's why the patriarch said, when we are healthy, our practice can be considered at level 10, but when we are sick, the practice will turn to level 1. So you can pay attention for the elders people when they come into the practice, even though they really want to practice, but they still get influenced a lot by their karmic habits. They keep getting distracted constantly when they are practicing. So you can see that they get more deluded by their consciousness. So they, even though their body is weak, their mind and their consciousness is still very active. So when we said when the practice is well, it means it will weaken the attachment. But like for the young people, they have their own discrimination. For the old people, they have their own discrimination, or even like stronger discrimination. So you can see the people who continue to do something more and more, it's very difficult for them to stop, like the people who smoke a lot, drink a lot, gambling a lot, and keep doing that for a long time. The longer they do, the harder for them to let go of that habits. Even when they get old, they and they their mind is not clear anymore, they still continue with those habits. So you can see that the old people, just their body is weak, but their mind, their attaching mind is still very strong. And the doubt will help us sweep away the object of gaining, object of abiding, object of seeking. It also sweep away all of the knowing, the knowing according to conditions. It will weaken our differentiation, weaken our attachment. We still be able to understand everything, but we don't take it too seriously anymore because our mind is directed to liberation, non-dualistic. But all of these are just explanation. We just need to maintain a practice to be able to fulfill all of those activities. The Buddha said the knowing is the sickness. The knowing is from the time without beginning. So this knowing doesn't matter whether the body is young or old. It's still very strong. Even for the animal, you can see that they are fighting over food. You know, they know very well what they want, and they're willing to fight over for food. You know, it's so those are the know created by the knowing and attachment, and the meditation will help us weaken those attachment. Then our way, our belief in the mind will be stronger and more complete. So being old doesn't mean your attachment get weakened, just your body get weakened. Thank you, Thầy. The time is up. Goodbye, everyone. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha.